Welcome to my channel. Tonight, we begin a journey that stays close to the ground, to the leaves, the roots, the sunlight, and the soil. We are embarking on an exploration of a world that is all around us, yet often remains invisible because of the pace at which we live our lives. We are asking a question that sounds simple, perhaps even strange, but one that opens the door to a profound shift in how we perceive life itself. Can plants think? Before we answer, let your mind settle into a slower rhythm. Breathe easily, and imagine the world from the perspective of a being that does not move, yet perceives everything. When we think of intelligence, we almost always picture movement. We think of the fox adjusting its hunt to the shifting wind, or the dolphin solving a puzzle in the deep blue. In the animal kingdom, intelligence is tied to action, decisions made in real time by a central nervous system, a brain. Because plants lack these visible structures, we have historically viewed them as passive, as mere objects that grow, react to light, and eventually fade. But as we look closer, we find that plants are not passive at all. They are silent architects of their own existence, constantly measuring, analyzing, and responding to a complex environment. Intelligence, at its most fundamental level, is the ability to perceive information from the environment and use it to make decisions that increase the chance of survival. By this definition, plants are remarkably brilliant. They possess a decentralized intelligence that is spread throughout their entire being. While we have a brain in one location, a plant's brain is everywhere. In every leaf that tracks the sun, in every root tip that seeks out moisture, and in every cell that monitors the chemical composition of the air. Imagine a seed buried deep in the darkness of the earth. It does not have eyes, yet it knows exactly which way is up. It senses the pull of gravity and directs its tiny shoot toward the surface, while sending its roots downward into the unknown. This is not a simple mechanical reaction, it is a sophisticated navigation. The root tips, in particular, are centers of immense activity. They act like tiny sensory organs, sampling the soil for nutrients, moisture, and the presence of other plants. If a root encounters a dry patch, it makes a choice to turn away. If it senses a rich pocket of nitrogen, it stays and branches out. This is a decision-making process occurring in a world without a single neuron. Plants live in a different time scale than we do. Their intelligence is a slow intelligence. To us, a tree might look stationary, frozen in time. But if we were to speed up our perception, we would see a frantic and deliberate dance. We would see leaves adjusting their angles by the millimeter to capture the most efficient photons of light. We would see vines reaching out into the air, circling like invisible lassos until they find a solid support to cling to. This is the movement of a mind that operates on the scale of hours and days, rather than seconds. What does it mean to perceive without a nervous system? Plants have more senses than we do. They can sense the quality of light, the vibration of sound, the subtle changes in temperature, and the chemical signatures of their neighbors. They are not just reacting, they are anticipating. A plant can learn from its environment. In famous experiments, plants that were repeatedly dropped without being harmed eventually learned to stop closing their leaves in defense. They remembered that the stimulus was not a threat. This suggests a form of memory, a way of storing past experiences to guide future behavior. As you lie here, imagine the incredible patience of this green intelligence. It does not rush. It does not worry. It simply exists in a state of constant, quiet awareness. It builds its body out of light and air, weaving carbon into strength and water into life. We often think we are the masters of this planet because of our speed and our technology. But plants were here long before us, and they have mastered the art of living in harmony with the Earth's rhythms. They are the foundation of all life, the silent providers that breathe out the oxygen we breathe in. In this series, we will peel back the layers of this silent world. We will listen to the whispers of the underground networks and decode the chemical languages of the forest canopy. We will move away from the noise of our human-centric world and enter the stillness of the botanical one. For now, simply appreciate the quiet strength of the tree outside your window or the plant on your desk. It is aware of you. It is aware of the light fading in the room. It is participating in the grand symphony of existence in its own steady way. The deeper we go into the science of plant intelligence, the more we realize that we are not as different as we thought. Life, in all its forms, is an unfolding story of awareness. Let your thoughts drift like a falling leaf. Slow and gentle. Descending toward a place of rest. Your mind is softening, aligning with the slow pulse of the green world. There is no hurry. There is only the breath, the stillness, and the growing peace. In the next chapter, we will descend beneath the surface to explore the hidden social networks of the Earth. But tonight, we simply acknowledge the architects. The world is quiet. The air is cool. The air in the forest is still, but beneath your feet, a hidden revolution is taking place. As you lie here, imagine the ground beneath you not as a solid, silent mass of earth, but as a vibrant, pulsing nervous system. We often see trees as individuals, solitary giants competing for a patch of sky. But science is revealing a much deeper truth. Trees are social beings, deeply interconnected through a vast, invisible network that scientists have called the Wood Wide Web. This network is built upon a profound partnership between trees and fungi. Tiny, thread-like fungal filaments, known as mycelium, wrap themselves around the root tips of trees, extending their reach far beyond what the tree could achieve alone. In this ancient symbiotic alliance, the tree provides the fungi with sugar, the energy it has harvested from the sun. In return, the fungi scavenge the soil for phosphorus and nitrogen, delivering these vital nutrients directly to the tree's roots. But this is more than just a simple trade. These fungal threads connect one tree to another, creating a web of communication that spans the entire forest floor. In the silence of the soil, a constant conversation is happening. Through these mycorrhizal networks, trees share much more than just nutrients. They share information. When a tree is attacked by insects or parched by drought, it sends out chemical distress signals through the fungal lines. Its neighbors receive these warnings and begin to bolster their own immune systems, producing defensive chemicals before the threat even reaches them. They are looking out for one another. They are acting as a single, coordinated organism. At the heart of this network are the mother trees. These are the oldest, largest trees in the forest, with roots that reach deep and wide, connecting to hundreds of other individuals. A mother tree is a hub of wisdom and resources. Through the wood wide web, she can recognize her own kin. Research shows that mother trees send more nutrients to their own seedlings than to strangers, helping them survive in the shadows of the canopy where sunlight is scarce. She nurtures the next generation through the dark earth, ensuring the forest's future long after she has returned to the soil. Imagine the slow, steady flow of carbon and signals through these silver threads. It is a world of cooperation, not just competition. Even trees of different species participate in this exchange. A birch tree might send excess sugar to a shaded fir tree in the summer, and the fir might return the favor in the spring when the birch is still leafless. There is a balance, a collective intelligence that ensures the health of the entire ecosystem. The forest does not rush its decisions. The messages travel at the pace of biology, a gentle pulse through the damp earth. As you breathe, try to synchronize your rhythm with this underground network. Feel the stability of being connected. You are not an island, you are part of a vast, supportive fabric of life. In the modern world, we often feel isolated, disconnected from the earth and each other. But the wood wide web reminds us that connection is our natural state. Even in the deepest silence, there is a dialogue. Even in the darkest soil, there is light being shared in the form of energy. As the night deepens, let your mind follow the path of these roots. Down away from the noise of the surface. Into the cool, moist embrace of the earth. There is a profound security in knowing that everything is held together by these invisible bonds. The trees are not just standing, they are leaning on one another, whispering through the mycelium, tending to the needs of the whole. You are now entering that same state of quiet connection. Your body is heavy, like the roots of an ancient oak. Your thoughts are slowing down, becoming like the gentle movement of water through the soil. There is no need for words. The network is taking care of the work. The forest is dreaming now. Millions of miles of fungal threads are pulsing with the life force of the planet. The mother trees are watching over the silence. And you are safe within this web of rest. Let the whispers of the green world guide you further into the dark. Into the soft, rich earth of sleep. Where every breath is shared. And every soul is supported. Descending. Connecting. Still. When we close our eyes, the world disappears into darkness. But for a plant, darkness is just another form of information, and light is far more than something to be seen. It is a language, a set of instructions, and a symphony of energy that dictates every moment of their existence. While plants do not have eyes in the way we understand them, they are effectively covered in thousands of microscopic eyes, from the tips of their leaves to the surface of their stems. They perceive the world through a complex array of photoreceptors, biological sensors that allow them to see the quality, direction, and duration of light with incredible precision. Imagine standing in a crowded forest. The upper leaves absorb the blue and red light for photosynthesis, letting only the far red light trickle down to the shadows below. A plant in the shade can sense this shift in the spectrum immediately. Through its phytochrome receptors, it detects the high ratio of far red light and understands a vital truth: it is being shaded by a neighbor. This triggers a silent, urgent decision. The plant allocates all its energy to stretching its stem, growing taller and faster in a desperate race to reach the sunlight. It sees the shadow before the shadow even touches it. This is the hidden intelligence of light. Plants do not just react to brightness, they decode the colors. Blue light tells a seedling which way is up and where the open sky lies, guiding its very first movements toward the horizon. Red light tells the plant when it is time to flower, acting as a seasonal clock that tracks the lengthening days of spring or the shortening days of autumn. They are masters of time, using the rhythm of light to synchronize their internal chemistry with the rotation of the earth. As you lie here, imagine the incredible sensitivity of these green beings. Every photon that hits a leaf is a piece of data. The plant processes this data without a brain, using chemical cascades that flow through its tissues like a slow, glowing river. It is a form of awareness that is constant and total. While we focus our vision on specific objects, a plant's vision is atmospheric. It feels the entire sky. It monitors the movement of the sun across the arc of the day, adjusting its internal clock to prepare for the cold of the night or the heat of the noon sun. Think of the photosynthesis taking place in the stillness. It is perhaps the most miraculous transformation in the universe, turning the ghost-like energy of light into the solid reality of matter. Into wood, into sugar, into the very oxygen you are breathing right now. Every breath you take is a gift from this silent symphony of light. The plants are drinking the sun, breathing in the silence, and exhaling the life force of the planet. In the quiet of the evening, the plants are shifting their focus. As the blue light of day fades into the deep violet of twilight, their receptors signal a change in state. The frantic work of growth slows down. The internal machinery prepares for the restorative work of the dark. They, too, have a rhythm of rest, a way of settling into the shadows. Let your own mind mirror this transition. Just as the plants let go of the sun's demanding energy, you can let go of the demands of your day. The light has done its work. The information has been gathered. Now, it is time for the integration, for the quiet processing that happens in the absence of light. Imagine the soft, green glow of a forest at dusk. The trees are not dark, they are simply vibrating at a different frequency. They are standing tall, their photoreceptors resting, waiting for the first touch of dawn to begin the dance again. There is a profound patience in this waiting. A trust in the cycle of the sun. Your thoughts are becoming like that soft, filtered light. Dimming. Softening at the edges. Descending into a peaceful gray space where color and form no longer matter. You are becoming part of the atmosphere. Part of the stillness. The symphony is reaching its quietest movement. A single, sustained note of peace that resonates through every cell. There is nothing more to see. Nothing more to analyze. The light is gone, and the silence is full. Floating in the dark. Resting in the green shadows. Still. Silence is a word we often use to describe the plant world, but if we could perceive the air as they do, we would realize that a forest is one of the noisiest places on earth. It is a place filled with shouting, whispering, and urgent warnings, all carried on the invisible wings of chemistry. Plants do not have voices, yet they speak with a complexity that rivals our own languages. They communicate through volatile organic compounds. Scents and molecules released into the atmosphere that serve as precise messengers in a world without sound. When you walk through a meadow and smell the sharp, sweet scent of freshly cut grass, you are not just smelling a pleasant aroma. You are witnessing a chemical scream. That scent is a distress signal, a rapid-fire alert sent out by the plant to tell its neighbors that it is being wounded. This is the beginning of a conversation that has been happening for millions of years. A plant under attack does not suffer in isolation, it alerts the entire community, changing the chemistry of the air itself to ensure the survival of the forest. Imagine a leaf being nibbled by a caterpillar. Within seconds, the plant begins to produce specific volatile chemicals. These molecules drift through the air, landing on the leaves of nearby plants that have not yet been touched. Upon receiving these signals, the neighboring plants do not wait for the threat to arrive. They immediately begin to change their internal biology. They pump bitter tannins and toxins into their leaves, making themselves unpalatable or even poisonous to the approaching insects. They have been warned, and they have prepared, all thanks to a silent whisper carried by the wind. But the strategy goes even deeper, revealing an almost tactical intelligence. Some plants can identify exactly what kind of insect is eating them by the chemical composition of the insect's saliva. In response, the plant produces a very specific perfume designed to attract the exact predator of that insect. It is the biological equivalent of calling for air support. A corn plant being attacked by a certain worm will release a scent that attracts a parasitic wasp. The wasp follows the chemical trail, finds the worm, and stops the attack. The plant has effectively communicated across the boundaries of species to save itself. This chemical language is also used for intimacy and recognition. Plants use scent to guide pollinators like bees and moths across vast distances, creating a map of fragrance in the night sky. They also use it to recognize their family members. Research suggests that plants can distinguish between the chemical signatures of their own siblings and those of strangers. When surrounded by kin, they are less aggressive in their root growth, sharing the space and resources more gracefully. In a world made of scent, they know who belongs to them. As you lie here, imagine the air around you as a vast library of information. Every breeze is carrying stories, warnings, and invitations. It is a rich, invisible tapestry woven from thousands of different molecules. The plants are constantly breathing this library in and out, participating in a global dialogue that never stops. They are aware of each other's health, each other's fears, and each other's presence. The pace of this conversation is gentle. It follows the movement of the wind and the humidity of the morning dew. It is a language of presence. As your own breath moves in and out, try to feel this connection to the atmosphere. You are part of this exchange. You are breathing the same air that carries the wisdom of the ancient trees and the resilience of the smallest wild flower. Let your mind drift into this invisible world. Imagine the molecules of peace and stillness settling over you like a soft mist. There is no need for words in this space. There is only the chemistry of rest, the slow transition from the active alerts of the day to the quiet integration of the night. The air is becoming heavy and sweet. The chemical shouts of the day have faded into the soft murmurs of the evening. The forest is settling. The warnings have been sent, the defenses are set, and now there is only the vast, shared silence of the dark. Floating on the scent of the earth. Dissolving into the cool evening air. Carried by the silent, rhythmic flow of the wind. Still. What is out of sight is often out of mind, but for a plant, the mind is precisely where we cannot see it. Deep beneath the surface, in the cool, pressurized silence of the earth, a masterpiece of biological engineering is at work. Since the time of Charles Darwin and his root brain hypothesis, we have begun to understand that a root tip is not merely a passive drill pushing through the dirt. It is a sophisticated sensory organ, a navigator, and perhaps the closest thing a plant has to a centralized command center. Imagine the world of a root tip. It is a place of absolute darkness, yet it is filled with a different kind of light, the light of information. As the root apex pushes forward, it is constantly sampling its environment. It feels the physical resistance of the soil, the subtle gradients of moisture, and the complex chemical signatures of the minerals around it. This tiny area, only a few millimeters long, is a hive of electrical and chemical activity. It is processing multiple streams of data simultaneously to make a single, vital decision: which way to grow. This is root cognition. A plant does not grow its roots at random. It is a strategic explorer. If a root encounters a solid stone, it doesn't simply stop, it feels the pressure, analyzes the shape of the obstacle, and chooses the path of least resistance. Even more remarkably, roots can sense obstacles before they even touch them. By detecting changes in moisture or the subtle acoustic vibrations of water flowing through the earth, they can steer themselves toward life-giving resources from a distance. They can hear the water, and they move toward the sound of survival. As you lie here, imagine the incredible patience and focus of this underground journey. There is no light to guide them, only the steady pull of gravity and the internal wisdom of the cells. The root tips act like a collective intelligence, a decentralized brain spread throughout the soil. They are communicating with each other, ensuring that the plant's foundation is balanced and secure. If one part of the root system finds a rich pocket of nutrients, it signals the rest of the plant to allocate more energy to that specific area. It is a constant, quiet calculation of risk and reward. Think of the texture of the soil. The damp, rich scent of the earth. The roots are moving through this medium with a grace that we rarely appreciate because of its slowness. They are weaving a net that holds the world together. This is the slow neurology of the planet. A system that doesn't need neurons to be smart, because it uses the very fabric of its body to think. In the stillness of your own body, try to feel this sense of groundedness. Like a root tip, you are supported by the darkness. You are resting in a space where there is no need for external vision. You can trust the gravity that holds you to the bed. You can trust the internal wisdom of your own breath to navigate the transition into sleep. The roots do not rush. They know that the earth will be there tomorrow. They know that growth is a process of steady, rhythmic expansion. They are content to be in the dark, finding their way by feel, by scent, and by the ancient memory of the soil. Let your thoughts descend now. Away from the bright, noisy surface of the day. Down into the cool, quiet layers of the subconscious. Your mind is like a root, seeking the deep, still waters of rest. There is no resistance here. Only the soft, yielding embrace of the night. The world above is fading. The winds of the canopy are a distant memory. Here, in the deep earth of the mind, there is only the pulse of the slow intelligence. A rhythm that has existed for hundreds of millions of years. Following the gravity. Finding the moisture. Settling into the profound, dark silence of the ground. Still. We have long believed that memory is a privilege of the brain, a complex dance of neurons and synapses firing in the dark. We imagine that to remember, one must have a mind that can hold on to the past. But as we settle deeper into the quiet world of plants, we discover that memory does not require a nervous system. For a plant, the past is not a fleeting thought, but a physical imprint, a biological record written into the very fabric of its leaves, stems, and roots. They do not have brains, yet they do not forget. Imagine a plant that has lived through a harsh, record-breaking drought. The sun was relentless, the soil was parched, and every cell in the plant was pushed to the limit of survival. When the rains finally return, the plant recovers, but it is no longer the same being it was before. It has learned. It has stored the memory of that stress deep within its chemistry. If a second drought arrives months or even years later, this plant will respond much faster and more efficiently than a neighbor that has never experienced such a hardship. It remembers how to conserve water, how to close its pores, and how to protect its vital proteins. This is not a conscious thought, but an epigenetic memory, a chemical seal placed upon its DNA that changes how its genes are expressed in the future. This ability to learn from experience is most famously seen in the Mimosa pudica, the sensitive plant that folds its leaves when touched. In remarkable experiments, researchers dropped these plants repeatedly from a short distance onto a soft cushion. At first, the plants folded their leaves in a defensive reflex, sensing the sudden movement as a threat. But as the drops continued without harm, the plants stopped reacting. They learned that this specific stimulus was a false alarm. Most incredibly, they retained this memory for weeks, even when moved to a completely different environment. Without a single neuron, they had distinguished between a real danger and a harmless event. As you lie here, imagine your own memories becoming like the quiet records of a tree. Most of our day-to-day worries are just surface noise, but the lessons that truly matter are settled deep within us, just like the rings of an ancient oak. Each ring is a memory of a year of plenty, a year of fire, a year of long, cold winters. The tree holds all of it in silence. It does not dwell on the past, it simply uses the past to stand more firmly in the present. Plants also remember the cycles of the heavens. They remember the cold of the winter even in the heat of the summer. This is a process called vernalization. Many plants will not flower until they have remembered a long period of cold. They track the days, counting the hours of darkness, waiting for the precise moment when the memory of winter fades into the promise of spring. They are masters of biological bookkeeping, ensuring that they never bloom too early and risk the frost. The memory of a plant is a memory of survival. It is a slow, steady accumulation of wisdom. It is the reason why a sapling grown from the seed of a resilient mother tree is often more prepared for the world than its ancestors. The memory is passed down, a silent gift of information flowing through the generations. Think of your own mind now as a garden at night. The active, fluttering thoughts of the day are beginning to settle, like dust falling on broad, green leaves. The memories that caused tension are softening, losing their sharp edges. You are moving away from the need to analyze or solve. You are entering a state of pure being, where the past and future dissolve into the steady rhythm of your breathing. There is a profound peace in letting go of the need to hold onto things. Just as the plant stores its wisdom in its very cells, you can trust your body to hold what is important while your mind drifts away. You do not need to work to remember who you are. You are here. You are safe. You are part of a lineage of life that has survived and remembered for billions of years. The air is still. The light is low. The records of the day are being archived in the deep, quiet places of your rest. Like a forest under the stars, your consciousness is vast, patient, and calm. The past is a soft shadow. The future is a distant horizon. There is only this moment. The slow pulse of the living world. The weight of the silence. Still. You cannot run. You cannot hide. And you cannot scream. For a plant, survival is a battle fought while standing perfectly still. We often perceive plants as passive victims, the soft backdrop of a world where animals are the only true protagonists. But this stillness is not a weakness, it is the birthplace of an incredible chemical and mechanical arsenal. Plants are not just objects to be eaten. They are master strategists and brilliant biochemists that have spent millions of years perfecting the art of defense. When a plant is attacked, it does not simply submit, it fights back with a resilience that is as quiet as it is deadly. The first line of defense is the physical armor. As you lie here, imagine the incredible variety of textures a plant can produce to protect its life force. Thorns, spines, and prickles are the most visible weapons. Biological barbed wire designed to keep larger herbivores at bay. But the armor goes much deeper, down to the microscopic level. Many leaves are covered in tiny, glass-like hairs called trichomes. Some are sharp enough to pierce an insect's exoskeleton, while others are tipped with sticky resins that trap a predator like quicksand. Some plants even incorporate silica, the primary component of glass, into their tissues, making their leaves so abrasive they can wear down the teeth of an animal over time. They turn their very bodies into a fortress. But the true genius of plant defense lies in their chemical warfare. A plant is a living laboratory, capable of synthesizing a vast array of compounds specifically designed to interfere with the biology of those who try to consume them. When a leaf is bitten, the plant can immediately increase the production of tannins, which make the leaves bitter and indigestible, or alkaloids, which can act as potent toxins. Some plants produce chemicals that disrupt the hormonal systems of insects, preventing them from maturing or reproducing. Others create scents that act as a form of air support. As we explored before, they call out to the enemies of their enemies, inviting parasitic wasps or ladybugs to deal with the pests that are eating them. It is a calculated, strategic response to a specific threat. Imagine the intelligence of a plant that plays dead. The Mimosa pudica we discussed earlier uses its ability to fold its leaves not just as a reflex, but as a defense. By collapsing its leaves, it suddenly appears smaller, less nutritious, and more like a collection of dry sticks than a lush meal. It uses movement to simulate the absence of life, tricking the predator into moving on to a more promising target. Think of the acacia trees on the African savanna. They have formed one of the most famous defense partnerships in nature. They provide hollow thorns as housing and sugary nectar as food for a specific species of stinging ants. In return, these ants act as a private security force. If a giraffe attempts to eat the leaves, the ants swarm the intruder, biting its sensitive tongue and forcing it to stop. The tree has outsourced its defense to an army of six-legged soldiers. As you settle into the stillness of the night, try to feel the strength in this kind of resilience. Defense does not always mean aggression. Often, it is simply about having the right boundaries. Like a tree, you have your own internal strength. You have the ability to protect your peace, to close your leaves to the noise of the world, and to nurture your own inner laboratory of calm. There is a profound security in knowing that life is equipped to handle challenges. Even the smallest weed in a crack of the sidewalk has a strategy for survival. You are part of this same resilient lineage. Your body knows how to heal, how to protect itself, and how to maintain its balance even when the environment is demanding. The forest at night is a place of quiet strength. The thorns are still there, the chemical defenses are standing by, and the bark is thick and protective. But for now, the battle is over. The herbivores have retreated, and the plants can focus on their own internal growth and repair. Let your mind mirror this state of protected rest. You are in a safe place. Your boundaries are secure. You can afford to let down your guard and descend into the deep, restorative layers of sleep. Imagine yourself as a great oak, standing tall and ancient. Your bark is a shield against the world. Your roots are deep in the cooling earth. Inside, your sap moves slowly, carrying the wisdom of 1,000 seasons. The air is cool. The night is long. Safe in your stillness. Held by your strength. Still. Electricity is not just a force that flows through wires, it is the universal language of life. As you lie here in the quiet of the night, your own body is a tapestry of electrical currents, with neurons firing in your brain and signals traveling to your heart. For a long time, we believed this was a phenomenon exclusive to the animal kingdom. We thought that because plants lack a brain and a centralized nervous system, they must be electrically silent. But as we look closer into the green tissue of the world, we find that plants are alive with invisible lightning. They use electrical pulses to communicate, to react, and to coordinate their entire bodies in a way that is strikingly similar to our own biology. Imagine a leaf being touched by a cold raindrop or nibbled by a small insect. At the sight of the touch, a change occurs. The plant cells undergo a shift in their electrical charge, creating what scientists call an action potential. This is the same fundamental mechanism that allows your own nerves to send messages. In a plant, this electrical wave begins to travel away from the point of contact, moving through the vascular system, the veins of the leaf, and out into the rest of the plant. It is a signal of information, a quiet internal shout that says, "Something has happened here." The pace of this electrical language is different from ours. In an animal, a nerve impulse travels at hundreds of miles per hour. In a plant, the wave moves at a more patient speed, perhaps a few millimeters or centimeters per second. It is a slow, rhythmic transmission that fits the tempo of a stationary life. But its slowness does not make it any less effective. This electrical pulse can travel from the highest leaf down to the deepest root, ensuring that every part of the plant is aware of what the others are experiencing. This system allows for incredible coordination without a central command center. Think of the Venus flytrap. When an insect touches the tiny sensory hairs inside its trap, it triggers an immediate electrical pulse. This signal travels across the leaf in a fraction of a second, causing the cells to shift their water pressure and snap the trap shut. It is a display of speed and precision driven entirely by green electricity. But even in plants that don't move so visibly, these pulses are constantly regulating growth, managing defenses, and adjusting to the environment. As you settle into your own stillness, imagine these gentle currents flowing through the trees outside and the plants in your room. Everything is connected by these subtle vibrations. The plant is a living circuit board, woven from cellulose and water, processing the world through the flow of ions. There is a profound harmony in the realization that the same force that powers your thoughts is also moving through the stem of a wildflower. Feel the slow, steady pulse of your own heart. Imagine your own nervous system cooling down, the electrical noise of the day fading into a low, peaceful hum. You are aligning with the slower frequency of the botanical world. You are letting go of the need for rapid responses. Like a plant at rest, you are simply a vessel for the quiet energy of life. In the darkness, the electrical activity of the forest changes. The sharp peaks of the day give way to long, slow waves of restoration. The plants are stabilizing their internal balance, using the quiet of the night to reset their systems. They are not searching for information now, they are simply being. Let your mind follow this path into the deep quiet. Your thoughts are no longer sharp or urgent. They are becoming like the slow electrical ripples in a resting leaf. Fading. Softening. Merging into the vast, dark field of the night. There is no distance between you and the earth. There is only the shared current of existence. The circuit is complete. The energy is at rest. Everything is balanced. Still. Nature is the world's greatest mathematician. We often think of math as something cold, calculated in classrooms and solved on glowing screens. But as you look out at a forest or deep into the heart of a flower, you realize that mathematics is the very breath of the living world. It is a language of harmony, a blueprint of efficiency, and a silent poetry written in the language of shape and number. Plants do not use calculators, yet they solve the most complex equations of the universe with every leaf they grow and every petal they unfold. Imagine the center of a sunflower. As you gaze into its golden face, you see a mesmerizing pattern of interlocking spirals, curving to the left and to the right. If you were to count these spirals, you would find something incredible. They almost always conform to the Fibonacci sequence. A series of numbers where each is the sum of the two preceding it. 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. This is not a coincidence. It is a strategic masterpiece. By following this mathematical rhythm, the plant can pack the maximum number of seeds into the smallest possible space, ensuring that no energy is wasted and every seed has its place in the sun. This geometry extends to the very arrangement of leaves on a stem. Most plants follow what is known as the golden angle, approximately 137.5 degrees. As a new leaf emerges, it grows at exactly this angle relative to the one before it. Why? Because this is the only angle that ensures no leaf perfectly shades the one beneath it. It is the ultimate solution for capturing the most sunlight and the most rain. The plant is a living calculation of light, a green architect building a tower of efficiency that has been refined over millions of years. As you lie here, let your mind dwell on the perfection of these patterns. Think of a pine cone or a succulent. The way the layers spiral outward is a physical manifestation of an infinite equation. There is a profound sense of security in this order. It reminds us that the universe is not chaotic, but built upon a foundation of deep, underlying balance. When we observe these fractals, patterns that repeat themselves at every scale, from the tiny vein of a leaf to the branching of a giant oak, our brains recognize a familiar rhythm. It is the rhythm of life itself, and it has a natural power to quiet the noise of our thoughts. Imagine a fern unfolding in the damp morning mist. It is a fractal dream. Each small leaflet is a miniature version of the entire frond, and each frond is a reflection of the whole plant. This self-similarity creates a sense of endlessness, a recursive beauty that draws the mind into a state of meditative focus. You are not just looking at a plant, you are looking at the structure of the cosmos. Feel the geometry of your own existence. The branching of the vessels in your lungs, the spiral of your DNA, the rhythmic cycle of your breath. You are woven from the same mathematical fabric as the trees and the stars. There is no separation between the math of the forest and the math of your soul. As the night deepens, the sharp lines of the day begin to blur. The complex problems you tried to solve are fading away, replaced by the simple, elegant patterns of rest. You don't need to calculate anything anymore. You don't need to find the answer. You can simply trust the equation of the night to carry you into the darkness. The spirals of the flowers are closing. The fractals of the forest are settling into the shadows. The geometry of growth is giving way to the geometry of stillness. Everything is in its right place. Everything is balanced. The numbers are falling silent. The patterns are reaching their center, descending into the golden ratio of peace. Still. As the sun dips below the horizon and the colors of the world fade into the deep blues and grays of twilight, a profound transformation begins. We often think of sleep as a uniquely animal trait, a necessity for brains and muscles to recover from the day. But as you lie here, settling into your own rest, know that you are not alone in this transition. The entire botanical world is settling with you. Plants do not have eyes to close, yet they possess an internal clock so precise that they know the darkness is coming long before the last ray of light disappears. This is the sleep of plants, a rhythmic dance controlled by an ancient biological force known as the circadian rhythm. In the 18th century, the naturalist Carl Linnaeus noticed something beautiful. He observed that different flowers opened and closed at such regular times that he could tell the time of day simply by looking at his garden. He called it a floral clock. This movement, especially the folding of leaves at night, is known as nyctinasty. Imagine a field of clover or a prayer plant in your room. As night falls, their leaves begin to droop or fold together like hands in prayer. They are not collapsing from exhaustion. They are consciously shifting their posture to protect their delicate surfaces from the evening chill or to prevent the moonlight from interfering with their internal timing. They are tucking themselves in. Deep within the cells of every leaf, a sophisticated molecular clock is ticking. This clock is synchronized with the rotation of the earth. Even if you were to place a plant in a room with constant light, it would continue to fold its leaves and adjust its chemistry at the exact time that night would have fallen. They carry the memory of the planet's rhythm in their very DNA. This internal sense of time allows them to prepare. They don't just react to the sunrise, they predict it, shifting their metabolic gears an hour before dawn so they are ready to catch the first photon of light. While the plant appears motionless in the dark, its internal world is incredibly active. Night is the time for restoration and construction. During the day, the plant was a factory, frantically capturing sunlight and turning it into raw energy. At night, it becomes an architect. It takes the sugars stored during the day and moves them through its body to where they are needed most. To the growing tips of the roots, to the expanding buds of a new flower, or to repair cells damaged by the wind. Growth happens in the dark. While we sleep, the forest is silently building itself, cell by cell, in the cool embrace of the night. Think of the night bloomers, those mysterious plants that reserve their beauty for the moon. Flowers like the queen of the night or the evening primrose stay closed during the heat of the day, waiting for the air to cool and the world to quiet down. Only then do they unfurl their petals and release heavy, intoxicating scents into the dark air, calling out to the nocturnal moths and bats. For them, the night is not a time of silence, but a time of peak existence. They are the dreamers of the plant world. As you feel your own body becoming heavy, imagine yourself as part of this global garden. Your circadian rhythm is singing the same ancient song as the trees outside. Your temperature is dropping, your heart rate is slowing, and your brain is beginning its own night shift, sorting through the memories of the day just as the plant sorts through its sugars. There is a beautiful, biological symmetry in our rest. You are sinking into the same restorative darkness that sustains the oak and the fern. The air in your room is cool and still. The plants around you have folded their leaves. Their internal clocks are counting the hours until the sun returns. But that is far away. For now, there is only the work of the night. The work of healing. The work of becoming. Let go of the need to be productive. Let go of the need to be awake. The world is taking care of itself. The forest is breathing in a slow, deep unison. You are breathing with it. The floral clock has reached the hour of stillness. The green cells are quiet. The night is full of growth. The night is full of peace. Still. Beneath your feet, with every step you take upon the forest floor, lies one of the most complex and ancient communication systems on Earth. We often look at trees as solitary giants, standing in isolated majesty, competing with one another for light and space. But this is an optical illusion of the surface. Beneath the soil, the forest is not a collection of individuals, but a single, pulsing social network. This is the Wood Wide Web, a vast, hidden labyrinth of fungal threads known as mycelium that connects the roots of different trees into a unified intelligence. Through this network, the forest speaks, shares, and remembers in a language of chemistry and carbon. Imagine the mycelium as a delicate web of white gossamer, thousands of miles of it packed into a single handful of soil. These fungal threads act as intermediaries, plugging into the root tips of trees to form a symbiotic partnership called mycorrhiza. The trees provide the fungi with sugar, produced from the sunlight high above. In exchange, the fungi scan the soil far beyond the reach of any root, retrieving vital minerals and water to deliver back to the tree. But the exchange does not stop there. The fungi act as a bridge, allowing the trees to communicate with each other across the entire forest. Through this invisible internet, trees share resources with an almost startling generosity. In the deep shade of the canopy, there are mother trees, the oldest, largest individuals in the forest with the most extensive connections. When a mother tree detects that a young sapling in her shadow is struggling for light, she can send life-giving sugars through the fungal network to keep the young one alive. She recognizes her own kin, sending more resources to her direct offspring, but she also supports the community at large. It is a system of mutual aid where the strength of the whole ensures the survival of the part. This network also serves as an early warning system. If a tree on the far edge of the woods is attacked by a swarm of beetles, it releases a chemical distress signal into the Wood Wide Web. This signal travels through the soil, reaching neighboring trees within hours. Upon receiving the alert, these neighbors begin to pump toxins into their leaves and strengthen their defenses before the first beetle even arrives. The forest is aware of itself, it reacts as a collective organism to the threats of the world. As you lie here, settling into the comfort of your bed, imagine yourself as part of a similar web of connection. You are not an island. You are supported by unseen threads of history, nature, and shared existence. Just as the trees lean on one another through the dark earth, you are held by the gravity of the planet and the shared breath of all living things. There is no need to carry the weight of the world alone when even the ancient oaks are constantly leaning on their neighbors. The mycelium never sleeps. Even now, in the darkness of the soil, the quiet transactions are continuing. Carbon is moving from the strong to the weak. Signals are passing between the roots of the pines and the birches. The forest is maintaining its balance, ensuring that when the sun rises, the entire community is ready. Feel the expansion of your own awareness. Imagine your thoughts as gentle ripples moving through a vast, interconnected sea. There is a profound peace in belonging to something larger than yourself. You are a node in the network of life. Your rest is not just your own, it is a contribution to the stillness of the entire world. The surface noise of the day has been filtered out by the deep layers of the earth. Down here, in the Wood Wide Web, there is only the slow, rhythmic flow of nutrients and information. There is no competition. There is only the steady, quiet pulse of cooperation. The forest is dreaming together. The connections are secure. The network is at peace. Still. Nature is not just a place where roots meet the soil, it is a vertical theater where life rises upon life. As you lie here, imagine a world where the ground is a distant memory and your entire existence is supported by the broad, sturdy shoulders of an ancient giant. In the deep, humid heart of the rainforest, the branches of great trees are not bare, they are lush, hanging gardens. These are the epiphytes. Orchids, bromeliads, mosses, and ferns that live their entire lives without ever touching the earth. They are the silent tenants of the canopy, a testament to the fact that life will find a way to climb, to reach for the light, and to belong. An epiphyte is a gentle guest. Unlike a parasite, it takes nothing from the host tree's internal veins. It asks only for a place to stand, a high vantage point to catch the fleeting sun and the drifting mist. These plants have evolved incredible ways to survive in the air. Some have roots that act like sponges, pulling moisture directly from the humidity of the breeze. Others, like bromeliads, form their leaves into a living cup, a small reservoir that catches rainwater and falling debris, creating a tiny, private pond high above the forest floor. This is a social life built on trust and physical support, a quiet coexistence where one life provides a foundation for 1,000 others. But the social fabric of the plant world has a darker, more mysterious thread: the parasites. In the shadows of the forest floor, there are plants that have abandoned the sun entirely. Consider the ghost plant, a pale, translucent flower that possesses no chlorophyll. It cannot turn light into energy. Instead, it survives by tapping into the underground mycorrhizal networks we explored before, quietly diverting the sugars that flow between trees and fungi. It is a ghost in the system, a master of stealth that lives off the abundance of the collective. While we may see this as a theft, in the grand mathematics of the forest, it is simply another form of intimacy, a deep, cellular connection that binds all living things together in a cycle of giving and taking. Think of the mistletoe, a plant that exists somewhere in between. It stays green and performs its own photosynthesis, yet it sends its roots deep into the wood of its host to drink its sap. It is a demanding roommate, a constant presence that reminds us that survival often requires a literal connection to another. There is a complex hierarchy in this social world, a spectrum of relationships ranging from the purest altruism to the most calculated dependency. Every branch is a community, every trunk a skyscraper filled with diverse lives, all leaning on one another. As you drift closer to sleep, let your mind settle into this idea of interconnectedness. You are like a plant in this vast social web. Sometimes you are the sturdy tree, providing support and strength to those around you. Sometimes you are the epiphyte, finding rest and perspective by leaning on the foundations built by others. There is a profound peace in realizing that you do not have to stand entirely on your own. You are allowed to be supported. You are allowed to take your place in the canopy of existence. Imagine the feeling of being cradled by the soft, mossy branch of an ancient oak. High above the worries of the ground, the air is cool and clean. The swaying of the branch is a rhythmic cradle, a slow, natural movement that syncs with your breath. You are safe in this vertical world. The tree is strong enough for both of you. Its bark is a familiar landscape, its leaves a protective roof against the stars. The social noise of your human life is fading now. The debts, the favors, the obligations, they are all dissolving into the green architecture of the night. There is only the presence of other living things, breathing with you in the dark. The orchids are closing their petals. The moss is drinking the dew. The parasites and the hosts have reached a nocturnal truce. Everything is leaning. Everything is held. The forest is a single, intertwined dream, resting in the cradle of the wild. Still. Sometimes, for life to continue, it must first learn how to stop. As you lie here, pulling the blankets close and letting your body become motionless, you are entering a state of existence that nature perfected millions of years ago. You are entering the world of the seed. A seed is perhaps the most perfect time capsule ever designed, a masterpiece of biological preservation that carries the potential of an entire forest within a shell as small as a grain of sand. It is life in its most concentrated, patient, and resilient form. Outside, it may look as inert as a pebble, but inside, it is a living promise, waiting with infinite grace for the exact moment to awaken. This state of profound rest is called dormancy. When a seed enters dormancy, it shuts down almost all of its metabolic activity. It stops breathing in the way we understand it. Its heart, if we can call it that, beats so slowly that it is nearly indistinguishable from the silence of the earth. It discards its water, drying itself out until it is a hardened fortress of cellulose and starch. In this state, time has no meaning. A seed does not age in the way a leaf or a flower does. It exists in a suspended animation, a biological, waiting room, where it can endure the most extreme hardships the universe can throw at it. Scorching droughts, frozen winters, or centuries of darkness deep beneath the soil. The patience of seeds is legendary. There are stories of Judean date palm seeds found in ancient fortresses, 2,000 years old, that were planted and grew into healthy, fruit-bearing trees. There are seeds of Arctic lupin that slept in the frozen tundra for 10,000 years, only to wake up and bloom when the ice finally retreated. They are the ultimate survivors, keeping the flame of life burning through epochs of history. They know that the world is cyclical, and they are content to wait for their turn to return to the light. A seed is also a master of discernment. It does not wake up for just any change in the weather. It is programmed with a specific set of alarm clocks that must all go off at once. Some seeds require the intense heat of a forest fire to crack their shells, knowing that after a fire, the ground will be rich with ash and competition will be low. Others require the freezing stratification of a long winter, ensuring they don't sprout until the true warmth of spring has arrived. Some must even travel through the digestive system of an animal, using the acids to soften their outer layer. They are waiting for the perfect signal, a precise message from the environment that says, now. It is safe now. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, imagine yourself as a seed resting in the cool, dark palm of the earth. You have shed the complexities of the day. You have folded your leaves, retracted your roots, and drawn all your energy into your core. You are protected. You are durable. You are a time capsule of your own experiences, your own wisdom, and your own strength. Just like the seed, you do not need to do anything right now. You do not need to grow, to produce, or to compete. Your only task is to be still and wait for the morning. There is a deep peace in this kind of surrender. The seed does not worry about the soil or the rain. It trusts that when the conditions are right, the life within it will know exactly what to do. The intelligence of the sprout is already there, encoded in every cell. In the same way, you can trust your body to heal and your mind to reset while you are in this dormant state. Your sprouting will happen in its own time, when the sun returns. The world above the soil is loud and shifting, but down here, in the embrace of the dark, everything is stable. The temperature is constant. The silence is absolute. You are sinking deeper into the soft, yielding earth of sleep. You are becoming smaller, more concentrated, more focused on the simple act of existing. The shell is strong. The interior is calm. The weight is holy. You are a promise of the dawn. Resting in the deep time. Still. Time is not a universal constant, it is a river that flows at different speeds for different souls. As you lie here, your heart beating in its steady, human rhythm, try to imagine a version of time that is measured not in minutes or hours, but in seasons, decades, and centuries. This is the time of the giants. To a 1,000-year-old sequoia or an ancient bristlecone pine, a human life is but a fleeting flash, a single, bright spark in a long, cool night. When we stand in the presence of these elders, we feel an inexplicable sense of peace, a gravity that pulls at our busy minds. This is the giant's perspective, a long-term consciousness that has seen the world change while remaining rooted in the same patch of earth for millennia. Imagine standing on a high, wind-swept ridge in the White Mountains. There, clinging to the rocky soil, lives Methuselah. A bristlecone pine that has been breathing for over 4,800 years. When the Great Pyramids were being built, this tree was already a sapling. When empires rose and fell, when wars were fought and forgotten, when entire civilizations flickered into existence and vanished, this tree was simply growing. It does not hurry. It does not compete with the frantic pace of the world. Its wisdom lies in its refusal to be rushed. It knows that true strength is built slowly, layer by microscopic layer, through the patient accumulation of days. To a tree, a storm is not a catastrophe, it is an event. A drought is not a failure, it is a season of endurance. They have learned the art of tree time, a psychological state where the immediate moment is balanced by the weight of a vast past and the promise of a long future. If a branch is broken by the wind, the tree does not mourn the loss with the urgency of an animal. It slowly seals the wound with resin. It begins to divert its energy to a new bud. It understands that healing takes time, sometimes decades, and it is content to wait for the process to complete itself. As you drift closer to sleep, let your own perspective expand to meet the scale of these giants. The worries that seemed so large this afternoon. The emails, the deadlines, the small social frictions, how do they look when viewed through the eyes of a 4,000-year-old pine? From that height, the noise of a single day dissolves into a soft, meaningless hum. You are invited to step out of your fast time and into the slow time of the forest. You are invited to realize that most of the things we stress over are merely surface ripples on a very deep and ancient ocean. Feel the weight of your own body as if it were the solid, heavy trunk of a great banyan. Your legs are roots that have pushed through the topsoil, anchoring you into the bedrock of the planet. Your spine is a pillar of strength, capable of withstanding the winds of any season. Your mind is the canopy, vast and high, where thoughts move as slowly as clouds passing over a mountain range. There is a profound dignity in this stillness. You are a monument of your own history, a witness to your own evolution. In the silence of the night, the giants are at their most majestic. They do not need to move to be powerful. They do not need to speak to be heard. They simply are. Their presence is a reminder that the most important things in life, growth, healing, wisdom, and peace, cannot be forced. They must be allowed to happen at their own natural pace. As you surrender to the darkness, let the frantic ticking of the clock fade away. Replace it with the slow, rhythmic expansion of a tree ring. One breath is 1 year. Another breath is another decade. You are drifting into a sleep that is as deep and restorative as the rest of an ancient forest under the winter snow. You are safe within the timeline of the earth. The stars above are moving in their ancient arcs. The earth is turning on its silent axis. The giants are standing guard, their roots intertwined with the very heart of the world. You are one of them now. You are timeless. The empires of the mind have fallen. The seasons of the soul are in balance. The long view is clear. Resting in the age of the earth. Still. Every journey, no matter how vast or complex, eventually returns to the quiet from which it began. We have traveled from the microscopic dance of seeds to the towering height of ancient giants. We have listened to the electrical whispers of the leaves and felt the hidden heartbeat of the soil. But now, the time for learning is over. The time for understanding is behind us. As you lie here, fully surrendered to the embrace of the night, we reach the final stage of our journey. The moment where life no longer strives to become something else, but simply dissolves into the universal stillness. In the forest, this is a sacred transition. When a great tree has lived its 1,000 years, it does not disappear. It slowly leans back into the earth, returning its carbon, its minerals, and its very essence to the ground that once gave it birth. This is not an end, but a beautiful recycling of energy. A final, generous breath that will feed the ferns, the mosses, and the saplings of the future. There is no fear in this transition, only a profound sense of homecoming. The tree is simply merging back into the source, becoming one with the dark, rich mystery of the planet. Your mind is now ready for its own homecoming. Throughout this journey, you have held on to thoughts, images, and facts. Now, I invite you to let them go. One by one, imagine the sections of this journey fading into a soft, gray mist. Let the geometry of the flowers dissolve. Let the electrical pulses of the leaves grow faint. Let the memories of the wood wide web sink into the deep shadows. You no longer need to carry this knowledge. It has become part of you, and now you can let it rest. There is a point in the depth of the night where even the forest falls into a silence that is absolute. Beyond the rustle of the wind, beyond the cycle of growth, there is a fundamental stillness that underpins the entire universe. It is the silence of the space between the stars. It is the stillness of the mountain before the first light. This is the stillness you are entering now. A place where there are no questions, no answers, and no self left to maintain. You are simply a consciousness drifting in an infinite, dark, and warm ocean. Feel the boundary between your body and the air begin to soften. You are not an island in the dark, you are the dark itself. You are the air. You are the gravity that holds the world together. Like a drop of water returning to the sea, you are losing your edges and merging into the vast, calm totality of existence. Everything you have ever worried about, everything you have ever achieved, is now just a distant vibration, fading into nothingness. The biological clock has stopped its ticking. The internal laboratory has closed its doors. The long-term perspective of the giants has become your own. You are looking out from the heart of the universe, and you see that everything is exactly as it should be. There is nothing to fix. There is nothing to change. There is only the eternal now. You are safe in this emptiness. It is a fertile darkness, like the soil that cradles the seed. It is a place of absolute rest, where the soul can finally set down its burdens and be truly free. You are floating on a current of pure, unconditional peace. The stars are watching over you, their light traveling across millions of years just to reach your closed eyes. The trees are standing guard in the silver moonlight, breathing with you, resting with you. The entire planet is a cradle, and you are being rocked by the slow, rhythmic turning of the world. The journey is complete. The circle is closed. You have returned to the source. Everything is silent. Everything is one. Everything is home. Still. Sleep well.